So, I have been a massive fan of Star Wars since I can literally remember. Some of my earliest memories of movies are Star Wars. And I've been watching Star Wars since I was probably since I was in the rocker. So, genuinely, since I was literally a kid. So, today, we're going to be watching a video by a Star Wars YouTuber which I have been following for a good amount of time, Star Wars Theory, and he talks about Mark Hamill finally opening up about the Star Wars The Last Jedi, and about Luke Skywalker, and obviously, this is going to be quite an interesting video, and quite an interesting reaction, because that film is widely regarded as one of the worst films in the entirety of Star Wars, and that it ruined the entire start, and that's when the downfall started of Star Wars. So we're gonna go ahead and react to this for this whole video. So I'm gonna put you guys down there, little microphone. So yeah, basically what we're gonna be doing is reacting to this whole thing. It is a bit of a longer video, so bear with us on this, but yeah, it's going to be a fun little reaction that you guys can enjoy, hopefully, and something that, grab a snack, sit back, and let's get into this reaction video. So, yeah, let's go. Roll the intro. So, this is a video right here. Let's go ahead and react to it right now.
The Last Jedi is fundamentally the movie that has caused the biggest rift in the Star Wars fandom today.
100%.
I hope this video really gets out there and goes viral. It's really going to explain a lot with how a lot of fans feel regarding The Last Jedi and the sequel trilogy with this new information that Mark Hamill has released in this interview, which you will see in just a moment. Before that, I want to announce two things. So,
this is, 100% true. The Last Jedi was kind of hated by a lot of people. Personally, when I first watched it, I saw it as a movie, and I was kind of excited that we had new Star Wars movies and all of that. So I remember enjoying it quite a lot, and then it's only really on the rewatches that, it just didn't feel like the original 6 Star Wars movies, the prequels and the original saga, which, yeah, it is sad, but, when you watch them back to back, one of them feels drastically like Star Wars, and then one of them feels like a parody trying to be Star Wars, but not quite hitting the mark. It gives me that feeling, so.
we are giving away 2 free sabers at theorysabers.com.
Okay,
about so one or type of sale. We had and Mark Hamill just opened up about The Last Jedi for the first time in many years, and this was a few days ago on a channel called Bullseye with Jesse Thorne. He did a full interview with him for 45 minutes. I'm guessing about a new show or a character that he's playing. You guys can go check it out. I'm going to link it down below.
Okay, so that's quite interesting. We're getting this information from what looks to be a podcast, so yeah.
But there is a lot here, of course, where they start to open up and talk about Luke Skywalker. I've seen a clip on Instagram, and I tracked down the full thing, and I have not watched it yet. So this is going to be my first watch through of what Mark has to say regarding Luke Skywalker from George's time, who created the character,
this is
all
gonna
the
be
way
pretty
to
interesting.
Ryan Johnson, who destroyed the character.
Yeah, it's
and
pretty
we're
mad.
going to go through it and see what's up. Sit back, relax, leave a like, and let's go.
Here goes nothing.
Yeah. What he said.
And what there is most likely directed towards a large-scale assault, like an armada. Like, we can slip through because we're the size of a dime compared to the Death Star. So intellectually, I could make sense of it, but now try and make it sound like it's an original thought that popped into your head. As Harrison once said to George about the dialogue, "Hey, you can write this, you just can't say it." I thought, boy, did he nail it. But I have to tell you, so they call in Star Wars. There was a contest on set on the call board. You could rename the movie without using the word wars, and no one ever.
Yeah, that... I don't know, what would you call it? Like, saber fights? Something like that? I don't know.
Could think of a better title, but
Starfight.
it seems funny.
Starfighter.
When
I love the
Starfighter.
original 3 Star Wars movies, but I think my favorite Star Wars movie might be The Last Jedi.
See, this is where I massively disagree. Yeah, that's just an unfactual statement there. How can you compare them, like, at this point? It just... Yeah.
Which is...
And see how he got this.
Okay.
in a lot of ways...
Yeah, that was pretty much my reaction there.
Every word of what you just said was wrong.
the way things were going,
true.
where I had the black glove over the hand that I lost, the third one was going to be about Luke struggling to decide whether to go to the dark side or not.
Funny enough, actually, that was a original concept, was that when Vader dies, the same way as it turned out in Return of the Jedi, Luke was going to take his helmet off, put it on to his head, and say, "Now I am Darth Vader." That was actually what was supposed to happen. And then George changed it, of course. And
that's actually pretty interesting. I feel like I've heard that somewhere before, but I don't fully remember. But yeah, that's quite interesting. I do know, however, that George Lucas did have an original plan for the entire of the sequel trilogy, really. He sold Star Wars to Disney with the idea of them using his ideas and really keeping these other films sort of in George's image and respecting the work which came before, and respecting the lore and the whole what Star Wars is really realistically about. So it is very, very sad when you hear that Disney just took it and did their own thing. They just sort of scrapped most of George Lucas's original ideas and just said, fuck it, we're doing what we want to do with it. Which, again, I'm pretty sure George Lucas... The main reason why George Lucas sold Star Wars to Disney was so that, you know, they could continue it, but continue it after he dies. And he didn't think that he had enough time left to, you know, realistically, can I make another movie or another trilogy which might take 10 years? Am I going to be around for 10 years? You know, he went through that whole process and then ended up selling it with the idea of Disney pretty much carrying on the legacy and having Star Wars outlive George Lucas. But yeah, it just didn't go to plan, and Disney took Star Wars and did whatever the hell they wanted with it, and it's very much tarnishing a brand which George Lucas made, and it is very, very sad hearing what we could have gotten and what we should have gotten but never got, because essentially Disney wanted to do something else and they didn't respect George Lucas enough to stick with his original ideas, and we got this. So pretty sad, I'm not
if you
gonna
notice
lie.
with Luke's tunic, it was all black and it had that chest plate, that collar that was flapped open with the white. And I've always thought that was like a symbolic sort of mention or nod towards Luke and Vader.
Yeah, definitely very, very symbolic. And again, this is something that Star Wars has always done. Very, very symbolic writing and screenplay in that sort of sense of things. So having the darkness, but this little bit of light showing through, was a big part of the conflict within Luke Skywalker and his pull to the dark side, but still having that little bit of light and goodness and hope within him to ultimately pull him back to becoming the hero of the story.
That, you know, even though Vader was this dark entity, he was in the dark side, he was this black figure, he is always remaining, he always has that little piece of the light side within him.
Yeah, which...
And then Luke, who was maybe able to channel some dark side energies, he was dressed in a black tunic, but he always had that white piece that was symbolizing the light side. Even in the prequel trilogy, you can always see how Anakin is always, his face is always half and half. Go watch it again. You'll see pretty much every single scene in Revenge of the Sith, half of Anakin's face is always in the shadows.
Rian Johnson is one of the most gifted directors.
So that's quite interesting. Again, very, very interesting. Let's continue
ever
on
worked
this.
with. He's amiable. He's fun on set. He's smart. He made a great movie. I think the staging of the standoff between Kylo Ren, Adam Driver, and I at the end is so well staged. You know, the foreshadowing that I'm not really there. Adam wipes the snow away and you see the red planet beneath. I wipe the snow and it's just snow. I mean, that's so subtle. I love Knives Out and Brick and Looper. He's one of my favorite directors.
All right, he's glazing so that he can kind of, I know he's going to say something opposite, or maybe he feels bad about all of the clips that have gone around of him that have gone viral where he's explaining how it's just a movie, that it's not his Luke Skywalker, it's Jake Skywalker, how he fundamentally disagrees with everything Ryan did. I wish Mark would just be so, like, less Hollywood about this and just more candid about, look, like, let's...
Yeah, and this is the thing with Hollywood and this kind of thing, you know. Actors and yeah, a lot of people get silenced within the industry. Look at George Lucas, for example. I feel like he has a lot of things that he wants to say and a lot of things that he, you know, he could say about selling Star Wars and his thoughts, but I don't think he is able to say it. And that's something commonly with Hollywood.
Be real. If we're trying to respect George and his character, screw all this bullshit.
It is the name of your true self you've only forgotten. I know there is good in you. The Emperor hasn't driven it from you fully.
Just say...
Yeah, come on, Mark Hamill. I know there's good in you somewhere.
what it is. Just say it for what it is. Like, he destroyed the character. Stand by your convictions and stop glazing. Like, just say it how it is. And I hope he's going to do that because we'll see.
Fear of loss is a path to the dark side.
The motivation for Luke becoming a suicidal hermit might have colored things in a way that maybe I should have kept that to myself. But I kept saying to Ryan,
"Oh man, don't keep any of this stuff to yourself." Like, this is what actors like. They got to be more like candid, you know, real YouTubers. And I can't even say all YouTubers because most of them are fake today, anyways.
Yeah, that's 100% true. Like, there's not many YouTubers nowadays that are just open and honest, and that's something that I always like to try and do on my channel, especially with these reaction videos and just stuff that's a little bit more laid back and, you know, not like obviously some content has got to have some narrative and some enhancements in it because of the nature of the content, but stuff like this I always like to try and keep it real and very, very honest with my thoughts on this kind of stuff. So.
There are very few that have actual convictions to say what they mean and mean what they say, and they don't flip-flop just for the audience or for, you know, getting movie tickets and whatever. But Mark Hamill said what he said in the moment because he truly felt that way.
Yeah, and again, this is something that I've done, again, with my Doctor Who videos and my reviews on the episodes. Some of the episodes were terrible. There were some people who literally were like glazing the episodes and saying that it's like the best sort of thing, and like people fucking heavily talking out of their arse about some of the episodes, and they just really weren't what it was all up to be. And there's a lot of fake YouTubers out there nowadays, which, they say one thing, and I mean, I talk to other YouTubers, of course, but there's some that will literally just they'll say one opinion off camera, but as soon as the camera comes on, and as soon as they're talking in front of an audience, they're almost like they're scared of sharing that opinion and their truth, so they go the complete opposite way, and they just say what they think people want to hear. And yeah, I think the whole point of having a platform and having, being a YouTuber is that you can broadcast your thoughts. And, I'm a big believer in that you should broadcast your thoughts, even if people don't agree with them. So
let's all repeat the mantra, it's only a movie. And if you think you're going to go into the movie and recapture your childhood, you're setting yourself up for disappointment.
So all of this extra stuff about him feeling
Yeah,
like what he said may have gotten the wrong
crazy.
idea in our heads, that we think that he doesn't like Rian Johnson, has nothing to do with that. I don't care about Rian Johnson as a human being. I'm judging him on his ability to portray Luke Skywalker.
yeah, I mean, he could be a great human being, but it doesn't matter how great of a human being you are, you can still write a shit movie at the end of the day.
And Star Wars. And that is what he has absolutely failed to do, in my opinion, and divided a fandom,
Yeah.
which was his intention. If you've seen that clip rolling around from like 2 decades ago, he said a great movie, in his opinion, is where he creates one where an audience is divided. One half loves the film and the other half...
Yeah, that's not a great movie. Usually when you make a great movie, you want people to enjoy it. And you want people to enjoy your movie. You wouldn't make a movie with the intention of pissing off half the audience. That's crazy in my
thinks it's the
my
most
eyes.
horrible, useless, garbage thing that they've ever seen in their life. He says, to me, that's a successful film. It's demented.
Hardens his resolve in the face of adversity. So that's all. I said, can I make up my own backstory of why?
Exactly, and that's exactly the thing. And he would have 100% doubled down. Luke Skywalker, as we saw him in Return of the Jedi, would not have given up. He never would have given up. He believed in the good in his father after all of the stuff that Vader had done, and he continued to double down on it. I sense the good in you, Father. Let go of your hate. He believed in him. He gave his life to save his father because he believed that strongly that his father would return. And if he...
Yeah, 100%. Like, it seems so out of character for Luke Skywalker to give up and become this, like, hermit of a person, like a shell of his former self. It seems so out of character because the entirety of Return of the Jedi was Luke's ability not to give up. Luke Skywalker was the guy who didn't give up, and ultimately that sort of, he saw something so deep in somebody who was the main villain of the original Star Wars movies. So much so that he managed to help Vader see some light and do something good. And Vader ended up sacrificing himself essentially so that the Jedi could live on. So for Luke to then go and be like this, I'm giving up on the Jedi and turning my back on everything, seems so out of character. And yeah, it genuinely, I keep on saying this, but it genuinely is crazy. Like, when I first watched the movie, I watched it as a movie, and as a movie, it looks good, like the quality looks good, and all the visuals and the audio, everything is up to point and on point for a Star Wars movie. But when it comes to the writing and the characters, that's when you can see the issues. And it is so obvious when you look deeper into it. And this is my whole point about, sorry to go on a tangent, but this is my whole point with the latest series of Doctor Who. The writing is god-awful in some places. The writing contradicts itself. The characters contradict themselves. They're not well-written, rounded characters. But the visuals and the overall look of this Doctor Who looks good. But people sort of ignore the issues and the writing and then glaze it simply because it looks good. And that's not what film is all about. Film is just like it's more important in a film to write it good and correctly write and utilize characters than it is to make it look good. It's a very, very important part of it.
He wouldn't save Luke, his son, then his father truly was dead. And there was nothing worth fighting for anymore. For him to just leave and go and...
Right, I'm gonna, little thumbnail opportunity here. There we go. Right, let's continue.
Become a suicidal hermit, as Mark Hamill just said again.
Yeah, that is kind of pathetic. Suicidal hermit, like that's yeah.
Tomorrow. Let's do it tomorrow. There is no tomorrow. There is no tomorrow.
That's not Luke. That's Jake Skywalker, and that is The Last Jedi is fundamentally the movie that has caused the biggest rift in the Star Wars fandom today.
Yeah.
Well said.
If that movie had
100%.
gone well, and we had gotten the Luke Skywalker from NJO, the Luke Skywalker, freaking 20, 30 years after Return of the Jedi that we were supposed to get, who was banding together a group of Jedi that was strong and powerful and even more rooted in his ways.
Yeah, I wish that we got that. It's
of just
crazy.
being a hopeful, positive being for the galaxy and a savior. The Star Wars fandom would be in such a better place. It wouldn't be so political. There wouldn't be so many ists and phobes thrown out everywhere if you didn't like a project or something.
I think it's not just with Star Wars. I think a lot of the film industry has gone this way. And I think, film should be about escapism and something that you can use to turn off from all of the real life, the real world stuff, and just sit back and enjoy a piece of media. But film has gotten that much about pushing narratives and ideologies and just trying to force as much crap into them as possible that they don't become enjoyable anymore. They become lecturous. They become they become exhausting to watch, and a film shouldn't be exhausting to watch, or a series shouldn't be exhausting to watch, because you should be able to just sit back, switch off, and enjoy a piece of entertainment. And then there'll be people out there that go, "Oh well, don't say what you want." I think everybody wants this. You don't watch a movie to get, lectured to about certain things. You don't do that. If you want to go and watch a documentary on something, that is completely different. That's why they're in two different categories. But a movie, especially like Star Wars, you just want to switch off and enjoy something. And that's what the film industry as a whole right now is collapsing on, and why Disney is doing so bad right now, and why so many franchises and movies and TV shows are crippled. And for a lot of things, it's beyond repair. Like, I'm probably going to do a video on it at some point as well, but I'm going to do a video on why, like, the Acolytes destroyed Star Wars so much that it's currently going to take a lot of stuff to actually build it back up, because the whole consensus from Skeleton Crew and Andor Season 2 is it was all too little too late. And Star Wars is it's almost falling at a rate that is too quick. Like, you're trying to patch a leak with sellotape. It doesn't work. Which is sad, because, you know, Star Wars is something I've watched since my literal childhood, and to see it going downhill in this way is truly sad. But yeah, let's continue.
Very vitriol within the Star Wars fandom is not necessarily due to either side fighting each other. It's due to a lack of understanding that the Star Wars fandom that was before The Last Jedi, the true George Lucas fandom, that was in love with the story, in love with Luke Skywalker, and looking forward to seeing what Disney would continue. But Disney wanted to break it. They wanted to...
Exactly. Like, I remember when The Force Awakens came out, just how excited and how much of a positive reception this movie got. I think the main critique of The Force Awakens was that it was too similar to A New Hope, and that was it. That was like the main gist of what we were getting as fans. So you can tell that it was when The Last Jedi came out that is when the damage started to really, really set in.
Create their own thing, and that's exactly what Rian Johnson did. And they destroyed this hopeful character of Luke Skywalker, arguably one of the most important characters in all of movie cinema history, just to put his lick on the frickin' produce and put it back on the shelf.
100%. It is sad. And I feel like the original actors must feel some kind of... I'm probably going to end this video here, because I've watched a bit and going to get into gist for it. But I feel like deep down, George Lucas, Mark Hamill, and the rest of the extended cast, which were, you know, part of the original Star Wars, I think that deep down they must all be pissed off that Disney aren't listening to the fans. The fans have always been saying, you know, just make something that's good, and, you know, make something good quality and true to the original story, and that will keep us happy. But they went and did the complete opposite. They made something that visually looks good, but the writing, they pulled it so far from the original story that it doesn't feel like Star Wars. It felt just about, okay, how can we get some, like, cool lightsaber fights in? And the lightsaber fights are sloppy. They're not even, like, the choreography isn't the same as, like, the prequels. So they could do something like that, but they're choosing not to do that. And yeah, we had, like, little peaks, you know, like The Mandalorian was a peak, in my opinion. I think The Mandalorian season 1 and season 2 were some great things. And Andor, particularly, I really enjoyed Andor personally. I think season 1, because I haven't watched season 2 yet. I need to catch up on a lot of Star Wars stuff actually. But season 1 was really, really good. It was Star Wars in a new light, slightly reimagined a bit, but it still felt like Star Wars. And the fight scenes felt like they packed that punch that original Star Wars did. And yeah, it was a little bit more slower paced, but when you had strong character moments, they were good. They were genuinely good moments. So yeah, that is pretty much my thoughts and reactions to this whole thing. I can imagine that, you know, it's a whole crazy thing, because it makes you think, like, what would have Star Wars been like if this all hadn't happened? And yeah, it's a sad thing, but like, my only hopes is that somehow they turn this around, but I'm starting to lose hope a little bit. But I'm going to stick around, of course. I'm going to watch Star Wars and the Star Wars projects, and you know what? I'm going to be doing some reviews very, very soon, so stay tuned for them. Coming very, very soon to the channel. But yeah, that's basically the end of this whole video. So thank you guys so much for watching. Please comment, like, and subscribe as always. And I will see you all in the next video. Bye.
Luke Skywalker.